Hello, YouTube. This is K2 Drama, and this is the Philosopher Stonecast. It's a philosophy podcast where we talk about anything and everything, and this is episode 13. I almost forgot. Spooky episode. I'm kidding. Usually we have a topic at the beginning, but I think we're just gonna go with the flow today. I'm a little in a little bit of a hurry. um, so yeah, what were you talking about before we started?
How Bernie suplex Clinton in the debate.
Well, it's not like he said like, "Woman, would you let me, the man, finish? Know your place." It's not like he did anything like that. He just said, "Would you shut up and let me
Well,
finish?"
considering he has a better voting record when it comes to women's issues than Hillary as a woman, so but I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't, but no, I mean, Hillary. I think has Hillary won the majority of the states already, or is Bernie won the
No.
majority of the states?
I think it's come up pretty even right now. I'll have to actually go look at it. I was looking at it earlier today. But I think how it's going to play out is Bernie's going to go ahead and win pretty much all the northern states and probably going to win pretty much he's probably going to win California, which is a
Yeah,
big
yeah,
state.
yeah. He's probably winning California.
And he may win New York,
Well,
seeing as he's from the Bronx.
but see, that's the thing. I don't know if he'll win New York. Maybe the rest of the state, but the city will likely vote Hillary.
Who's to say? This
Why
has
would, why,
been
would, why would Bernie win Wall Street?
Wall Street, while they may be pretty powerful, they don't comprise of that many people. So I mean, I'm just saying, like, the majority of New York city people are not working for Wall Street.
No, but yeah, a couple 100,000.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, just going by the turnout, I could see this race coming down to be really, really tight. Like, but on the other hand, it may go down and maybe Hillary will just straight up win a whole bunch of shit without expectation, and or maybe it'll go down where Bernie just totally landslides in both of the big states and most of the swing states, and just like, wouldn't it be odd, like, if Bernie won Florida? I don't think he's going to win Florida, but wouldn't it be odd?
Well, he might. It just depends on how well he's gotten his message across. I think what he did was that instead of concentrating on a certain state that he lost and ended up losing to Hillary, he instead traveled to Florida and campaigned. I forget what it was. Um,
You wouldn't know it from how the mainstream media spins it, though. You'd think that she's already got it in the bag. But this is
yeah,
the
South
same kind of
Carolina.
crap that they made a mistake on in 2008.
Right. Yeah, no, it was South Carolina. South Carolina, basically, they voted for Hillary, and instead of staying there campaigning, what Bernie did was Bernie then overnight traveled to Florida and held a rally. So
Yeah.
I mean, he seems to be concentrating his efforts there well enough that he might actually win. But if it goes to Hillary, if she has Florida, and she also has Texas, and she also has a lot of the Midwestern states, you could find that she wins because even if someone wins a state, they don't win all the super delegates. So it's very possible that she could, even though Bernie wins a popular vote, she could win the super delegates anyways.
Yeah. It's entirely possible. It'd also be a huge slap in the face to everyone in the Democratic Party.
Has not happened before. Gore
Yeah,
was
but
supposed to have won.
yeah, that was
Kennedy was supposed to have won.
yes, but Gore was Gore winning against Bush in the general, not a slap in the face from the Democratic National Committee to the Democratic caucusing people over a candidate choice for that party.
Right. I mean, that is a little bit different, but I mean, you have to consider from their viewpoint. Where else do you have to go? We're a two-party system with independents thrown in the middle. You can't create a second Democratic Party because you're still tied down to those two choices of a
Oh, I get it.
Republican or a
No, but
Democrat.
I'm just saying that if let's like switch the narrative for a second and keep everything of the platforms the same for both of the candidates, but switch their shoes. Let's say Hillary's coming up trying to do grassroots, and her name's not well known throughout stuff, but Bernie's is. But you keep their platforms the same, aside from the whole super PAC thing. Do you think Hillary would be where Bernie's at right now?
Likely not.
That's my point. It's the same way Obama won.
But it took Bernie almost 4 years worth of effort just to get to this point.
Yeah. Perseverance is a quality.
Well, yeah, but I mean, also he's coming into an election where Donald Trump is going to be the Republican nominee. Donald Trump. It's not exactly America's shining moment.
Yeah, that's true.
So he basically waited and waited and waited until there were absolutely no qualified candidates to run to then defeat everyone. It's kind of like waiting until everyone's sick and then joining the party.
Yeah, but can you? I'm sorry, but like, does that really amount to anything? He's running now, and actually, the story behind why he decided to run is pretty notable. But I'm just saying, it just seems odd to me to find so many people not necessarily being like, oh, we should just vote in the favor of the establishment candidate. Well, what we always do, sort of.
Why don't you run for president, Justin?
Because I'm not old enough yet.
How old do you have to be?
Bam, 36.
36.
I think 36 or 35, whichever.
But the thing is like you don't want to be too young. That's why most people wait until like their late 40s, because you don't want to seem too young next to the like you were running against somebody who was rerunning as president to get to the second term, or you were running against somebody who was trying to do it for the first time. They're all going to be older people, so you don't want to be seem too young that you're naive. You would have to kind of capture the hearts of a whole lot of people if you were to run young.
I think you could do it if you ran young. It's
about how much attention you
and
gather while
it
you're
also
young.
has a lot to do with how you look.
I think like Canada's prime minister is a good example of youth being elected. However, we can point out all these caveats about how, why did this person do this at this point, or if you're talking about the aspect of like what people are actually saying, like what Bernie Sanders is actually saying versus what Clinton is actually saying, there's not too much of a terrible difference, except for, the shady shit that Hillary doesn't say and won't say to the American people. So,
Like what?
well, okay, here are my transcripts for the Goldman Sachs speeches that I accepted $225,000 a pop for. Here's what I actually talked to these people about. I can swear to you that my narrative doesn't change at all depending on who I'm talking to.
Well, couldn't you say that she is in some ways, as a writer would, using her talents to basically give an income to herself?
Would you pay J.K. Rowling $225,000 to speak to you for no reason?
Fuck yes.
Okay, so you'd waste $225,000 on having
If
her
I
talk
have
to you.
$225,000 in the first place to waste upon a decision like that, then yeah, I mean, obviously I can make it.
I mean, you could, but you could probably she probably wouldn't accept the speaking fee knowing her, but for two,
Well, yeah.
the point that I'm trying to make is like You don't just get that amount of money for making a speech. I know it's not unheard of now. The Clintons pretty much set the precedent for that crap.
Well, considering the
But
audience, the members who
hmm
were there for that. I mean, 225,000. They earned that in half a year with their stock options alone.
yeah, that's not the point though. The point is there nothing to be expected in return for that money?
Well, yeah, she's doing no different way than any other politician does, which she's capturing hard-different Americans.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
She's not necessarily that she's going to do something absolutely in return for that money. She's saying that if you give me this money, I might have this ability to do it. And because, like I was saying, because if you have $225,000 to waste on someone, and considering her audience, the majority of them did. I mean, are you really going to care if they follow through in the end? Well, it's an election. Oh well, she didn't win the popular vote, but she still meant what she said. And, it's just she wrote she as a writer she wrote a particular piece for a particular audience,
hmm
and she would pay for her talents based upon the audience itself, which was people who were overwhelmingly wealthy.
Yes, but dude, it's almost insane and absurd to say that there is nothing expected for that.
Well, if you look at the political process, you can't. Not even everything Bernie says that he's going to do. You can't absolutely believe that he's going to be able to follow through with that.
Yes, but I also know that he's not taking large sums of money from people just to hear him speak on issues that no one else can get the transcripts to.
Well, not necessarily. He's not being paid right away, but he's getting people to his attention who are then giving to his
Yeah.
campaign.
The proper way to, run a candidacy, run a campaign.
Right, but he's gotten millions upon millions of dollars. So
Uh huh.
in ways, he is getting an income for speaking to people.
Yes, but it's because people are attracted to what he has to say. They are attracted to him as a leader,
And I'm
not
pretty sure what
because
Hillary
people
said
are
to the
wanting particular things from him as far as legislation goes.
oh, well,
Like from
they want the cheaper, they want the more available education,
yes,
they want the
but
more
this is
available
people as
health
a
care.
whole,
They
not
want
the top income earners who are making decisions about trade legislation and decisions about regulations concerning the EPA and legislation concerning all kinds of different things like for-profit prisons or just the banking industry allowing to continue what it's doing anyways.
how do they do that? How do they do that?
It's called lobbying.
Right. Okay. So they use their collective money inside, of course, their earning power of their corporations
hmm
to create a lobbying firm, which then uses that influence to influence laws and rules, and they write the majority legislation that passes through Congress.
To
Right.
some degree.
Okay. So you have a couple 100,000 people who are sending individual small amounts of money, but they're getting hundreds of millions of dollars, or well, tens of millions, sorry, not hundreds, but tens of millions of dollars, and they're giving it to the Bernie campaign. Can't they create their own lobbyist firm in the end with that same amount of money
But they're
and
not
get what they
lobbying.
want?
Okay, but they're not lobbying for loosened restrictions on the EPA so they can get what they want through their corporation.
But
What the people are lobbying for,
they
hold
are
on,
lobbying in the sense
hold
of they're
on,
voting for
hold on. What the
Bernie.
people are lobbying for are things for the people, things for the betterment of society, like free education. And I know I'm saying free here, but free
Something.
education and free healthcare. These are things that will massively help the people, that will cut down on the expense of the people over the same amount of time, over double what they would have to be taken out in taxes over the whole. And that's not everybody being affected in the long run. It's just it's absurd to argue for this woman, other than the fact that she's trotted out on social or not on social media, trotted out on corporate media. I mean, I'm just saying, been the big rally of the 99% movement and all of these movements for a long time that, hey guys, the top 1% kind of fucked it up back in 2008. Maybe we shouldn't trust them as much as we do. Oh no 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 no! Hillary will come in and she'll be like, I'll tell them to cut it out. You know
Right, but I mean, but technically, you contributed to that 1% system, don't you?
how?
Did you not have Taco Bell tonight?
Do what?
Did you not have Taco
Yes,
Bell
I had
tonight?
Taco Bell tonight. It's
Okay,
a
that's a
cheap
that's a
food.
multi-million-dollar company who uses their power, their collective earning power, to create lobbyists who then influence the food systems that we
So,
eat. So
so Taco Bell is lobbying.
they do lobby. They have lobbyists
Okay.
that lobby the government for certain legislations, whether it be that
My
they don't have
problem
to label
isn't
something
that
GMO or whether they
corporations
don't.
would. Yeah, my problem isn't that corporations would try to lobby. It's my problem is that politicians allow that it's allowed in the political system. It's ridiculous. The government is there for the people, not for collective interests of the people that include things like corporate subsidy.
Technically, by the Constitution, corporations are people. They're individuals. So
Yes,
within the law system that we live in, they are technically considered people.
yeah, and I get that, but I don't agree with it, and neither do a lot of people.
But that doesn't matter because in the system in which you live, you have to follow by the rules in place, and then the rules in place, and then the guidelines in
Yeah.
place. Corporations are people, so you have to live in that system, even if you don't agree with it. I mean, I don't agree with it either. I'm on your side, but
Yes, but my point is we don't have to live with that. We can change that.
by basically creating a lobbying
We just have to get some
partner
scissors.
which
No, you
uses
wouldn't have to even create a lobbying partner. You'd have to end Citizens United. Repealed the act of Citizens United versus the FEC.
okay.
I mean, because that's literally what you're talking about at that point. Is yeah, you could still lobby at that point if that law hadn't passed. But now you can pretty much donate unlimited funds and not even have to report all of them.
What if they lobbied for something like completely different for like I don't know.
If trickle down theory worked and they were all lobbying for the betterment of the people,
What if
wow.
they were like lobbying for like better snacks for everybody,
Like
like
really healthy snacks or like
readily available
Is there such thing as healthy snacks?
anytime for free?
I guess there would be such a thing as a healthy snack. I mean,
Um,
um,
no, like cheeseburgers and stuff.
But think about it. I mean, you said that they're because of the law that you said that they should be taken out. That should be ruled unconstitutional instead of constitutional. You say that the corporation shouldn't be people, right?
yeah.
Okay. So basically, what was the thought I had? I just took a thought a second ago.
I think the corporations they're okay.
Basically, you said that they basically they're corporations. The corporations that they're lobbying, they're giving to the political system isn't recorded. The amounts of hundreds of thousands of dollars that they contribute to political campaigns and to PACs aren't written down. They're
Oh
not
no, I'm not
full
saying that
record.
they're not written down. I'm saying that that's not all the money that you're seeing is not all the money,
Right,
and it doesn't have to be.
but you have Obama who, besides the fact that the Koch brothers gave over $1 billion and still lost the election. So is it really necessary to have a law that cancels that ability of a corporation to spend or the person or the people to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars for a certain candidate? Does that really mean much? Because you had the
I think
Koch
so.
brothers that lost not only in 2008, but they lost in 2012.
You mean the Koch brothers?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm spelling their name wrong. Yeah, Koch brothers.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, that it's possible for people to rise up at the level that they have and, go through and beat this, but it shouldn't be necessary for the people to go through and have to compete against a defeatist system that would elect based off of, corporate rule and oligarchy. It's just, we shouldn't have to fight that as people in a democracy.
No, you shouldn't have to fight that, but that's the system that exists. But because that system exists because of that oligarchy has been able to keep that power for quite a while, right? Okay, how do they do that? They did that through power and influence, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you're saying that, well, the people who have the ability to collectively come together and certainly match or even outdo the power that one or two individuals has, you're saying that they shouldn't have to do that. But in reality, they have to do that in order to influence the system enough to then start turning that system into something that benefits them.
No, I'm saying they
They have
shouldn't
to
have to do
replace
that.
that
I
oligarchy.
recognize that they
The only
have
way to
to.
replace the oligarchy is to play their game and defeat them at it.
No, I get your point. I said they shouldn't have to.
You shouldn't
Not that
have to.
not that they don't have to. at
Right,
this
they don't
point.
have to, but people concentrate too much on the shouldn't have to, and then they don't try.
Well, we're going to see a change, I believe.
Well, but Bernie's status as a winner isn't determined yet. But
I know, neither is Hillary's.
If Hillary wins, then technically that's not a gift to the people.
No,
No, because she's corporate controlled, right?
I wouldn't say she's necessarily corporately controlled, but I will say that she necessarily has gone out of her way to do exactly what she's going to do.
Right. So I mean, you
I think
the people are concentrating too much on the shouldn't. They shouldn't have to do it.
they should.
Concentrating on the fact that they can and they have to in order to replace the system, something that benefits them.
I think they should just fight to the death.
Before you realize you have to, in this case, you should also have to realize that you shouldn't have to, and that's the motivation, that's the anger.
And then whoever
But the
loses,
anger has to be able to transfer from the shouldn't to the
yeah,
I have
and
to.
it will.
It
I mean,
better have
I'm
to.
not that much of a cynic when it comes to people. Well, not as much as I used to be.
Okay.
and Gundam battles.
I'm just saying, like, we can do this, and we will do this.
I hope the very same thing. You know, certainly my goals would be meaningless if the people didn't progress in some ways. But
Mhm.
in a lot of ways actually, fuck. But you know, but you posted that meme that was saying that it had like Kirk and I think someone else together. It was a
Kirk
cartoon.
and Spock.
Yeah, Kirk and Spock, and it was like they were peering into a temporal distortion, and
Yeah.
they were able to see into the past and said this is the beginning of the Federation. Certainly, you would hope that the collective people would put their power and influence together and vote in
hmm
someone like Bernie. But that's not necessarily happening.
Bernie Sanders.
So is his message getting across effectively enough?
No, not
I think
really.
that it's getting across, I'd say, very well.
But
And I think that
I
over
think it
time,
gets. I think it gets misinterpreted a lot.
yeah, that happens.
well, you have the media to blame for that. Like you have the whole free stuff thing. Now, of course, you also have the thing like you had the concentration on the fact that he's going to tax the millionaires. Well, yeah, he's gonna tax the millionaires. He's gonna tax somebody who earns 250,000 above. But he's also admitted that yeah, you know what? Everyone's tax has to go up. And to me, even though I've said I've said that I'm a
Where did you
conservative,
find that at?
Huh?
Because I've seen several different reform setups for the tax policy from the Tax Policy Center that show that until you reach that $250,000 threshold, the taxes won't go up.
Bernie himself has admitted, even in the debates, that with his taxes, that everybody's taxes would have to go up. That the ability to pay for a single payer system or the ability to pay for tuition for 4-year colleges, or to help eliminate the debt of help eliminate student debt, that you'd have to raise taxes on more than just the people who earn 50,000 and more because there's not enough of them. There's not enough
Honestly,
money.
though, I think that even if
So he
that's
admitted
actually the
that
case, it's
himself.
still a really good idea to do because in the long run, you'll save more in expenses than
Right,
you
that's what
will
I'm
have
saying.
paid in
Like,
taxes.
even as like I say I'm economically conservative. Even as that fits my criteria. So of course I would hope that people would vote in someone like Bernie, but it's not happening.
And it hasn't happened yet.
Hasn't happened yet. But if it doesn't happen in this election, and you gotta remember Bernie's a certain age, yeah, if it doesn't happen in this
Oh.
election,
I understand that much. Then the next election cycle we go around, because I only see if Hillary got
Does he
in and
run?
Hillary wins,
Because
I only see her for one term.
out of all the times that he's been called to run, and he's been called to run even in the Clinton era. Okay, he hasn't run. He decided to run this one time. He doesn't win this one time. What is to say that he runs again in the next election cycle?
There's not much to say, and plus with his age, that's a yeah. I'm on a podcast, Mom.
Okay, well, in a minute, would you mind emptying the kitchen trash?
Sure.
Cool.
But no, the point that I'm trying to make here is you can't just say that oh, he hasn't won it yet, blah blah blah. The same can be said of any candidate at this point. We won't know really until July.
Until then, Pokemon are still not real.
Did you hear that Paul Ryan might be entering the race now?
Who? Oh
Paul
God,
Ryan.
the rapist-looking guy.
Well, see, here's the thing. Like he's seen as like the conservative because he's pretty much stuck to the whole thing of resisting everything that the Democrats have done and Obama has done and everything like that. Or at least he passes on that persona.
Hmm.
He's seen as a conservative major, and since Donald Trump is technically considered, even if he wins, he's technically considered by a lot of people to be something that's going to split the Republican Party in half, or even break it apart. Paul Ryan there was a hint that he might be running to then reinvigorate all the conservatives to come to his side, therefore winning the Republican nominee, and then he'd be able to beat Hillary because he would unite the Republican Party
Hmm. Uh. Hmm.
more than Donald Trump would.
Yeah, that's probably true, but I feel like that Donald Trump has done irreversible damage to the GOP,
The thing is,
and
like, they
I.
always say that, like they tried electing McCain, and McCain then had fucking Sarah Palin with him.
Oh, I
Okay? And
know
then
she was stupid, but
people said that there you go, that's the destruction of the Republican Party. They've
well, if it
you
doesn't
know
destroy it
they
now, what's
it just
next?
that's was the question that was asked after Palin, and then they came back again with Romney, okay, and then they came back with then they came back now they're coming back with Donald Trump,
Oh,
okay.
really? Out of
It's
out
kind
of
of like
Donald Trump and
being through a terrible event and not knowing it's fully over and saying, "Boy, I hope it doesn't get worse," and then it
well,
gets worse.
between Donald Trump and the Zodiac killer, um, Ted Cruz.
Hmm.
I don't know if you heard about that, but
No, I didn't. But you said Ted Cruz, so
yeah. Okay, people are. I think the original joke come from they took Ted Cruz's little pin thing, the Ted Cruz 2016 or whatever
hmm.
or 2017, and then they rearranged all of the figures in it, all the letters and the numbers to make it spell out "I am the Zodiac killer,"
Hmm.
which I thought was hilarious.
That's
But
creative.
huh?
That's creative.
Yeah, but I honestly I think Ted Cruz would be a worse president than Donald Trump, and I also think that you know out of I think it will be between Cruz and Trump all the way down, and either one is horrible.
Well, of course, but it hasn't that always been the selection. Who is Ronnie? Who was Romney running against? Was it Mike Huckabee? Who was running in
Mm.
2012? Who was he running against? Majority of the time, who
Well, I
was
know Mike Huckabee because Mike Huckabee's been in pretty much all of them.
election? Yeah, no, but in Romney was going head to head before he won the Republican nomination in 2012. Who was he going against?
Um, I would say. I mean, honestly, this is like a Google foo question because I don't know off the
Google.
top of my head.
Time to Google it.
Anyway, next topic.
Googliness.
Let's go.
Oh, Chris, cockblock. What the hell? Okay, go ahead. What's the next topic?
How much Taco Bell did you get?
A steak quesalupa,
Oh,
4
that's good.
beefy Frito burritos, and 1 5-layer beefy burrito.
See, whenever my family gets Taco Bell, what we do is we get like 2 canisters of soft tacos and 2 canisters of hard tacos. But the thing is that it doesn't last.
It's true.
It's gone.
In order to effectively eat at Taco Bell, you have to buy a
So
lot.
much of it. You have to buy a lot, especially like their soft tacos, which are amazing.
I love tacos.
Yeah, I have a Taco Bell right next to my work, but the problem is that I work from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. or well, it's sometimes more. But I take my break so late that even though I have so many things, I have Little Caesars around me, I have the Panda Express, I have Taco Bell, I have Chick-fil-A, I have all these different places around me. But by the time I take my break, none of them are open anymore.
Yeah. I'd have to say thank you to Chris for tacos, but that was a Texas thing, if I'm recalling history correct. Are tacos exclusively Mexican or are they Texas?
They're Mexican.
But I heard that tacos aren't Mexican because Mexicans use soft flour or corn
Well,
tortillas.
I
Soft
mean,
corn
the only
tortillas.
difference between a soft flour tortilla and a hard one is like you bake it or fry it.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
And I heard that like
So
because of
I
course
always thought it had to do with the fact that they use ground beef in it, and usually other dishes that are obviously Mexican that use flour tortillas use things like steak or chicken or
chicken would be more available.
yeah.
Certainly.
And that's why, like, even though it's totally a Mexican thing, I think if I recall correctly, the taco itself, the idea of the taco, was
Yeah.
invented in Texas while it was still under control of Mexico. So
Yeah.
technically, it's Mexican.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean Texas doesn't want to admit it, but even though it's settled by it was settled by a lot of white cowboys in a sense. They didn't become cowboys until they got to the region, though. It's very much part of Mexican culture.
Yeah,
So, moving on here.
we were talking about Mexicans, Chris. Do you know what one of those are?
Have you tried the Cool Ranch Dorito tacos or
No,
the original recipe
more.
tacos yet?
Anyway, did you hear about the guy who invented emails passed away recently?
Huh? The guy who invented email?
My same response.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
Uh,
someone invented that. But I suppose they had
Now,
to
did they
have.
create the business infrastructure for it, or did they create the program for it? What was his creation? Because I mean, the internet is the internet. Not there wasn't necessarily. It's not necessarily a creation, more of a discovery.
He just made it
He just made it.
like a boss.
The guy who's like, email, it's the next big
He
thing.
died at 74, was it?
Yeah, 74.
So,
Hmm.
does that article have anything else on him?
I mean, it has his life journey and everything like that, but I didn't read it.
What's it say? Just read a little bit.
Okay, 1 second. Do this.
Ah, Baja Blast.
Okay.
Product placement. Hey, Taco Bell, pay us money. Hey, Mountain Dew, you pay us money too.
I'm
Okay.
sure they would.
He died of a heart attack, but he may not have been the first person to dream of the concept of sending direct electronic communiques.
Did he die of a
But
heart attack after being sent one of those scare emails?
no, but the SND MSG command he developed in 1971 was the first real online system for delivering messages from one computer user to another. He didn't just invent email; his decision to use a rarely used symbol, the @ symbol sign, to visibly separate the user from the host machine and an email address, also lifted that character into our everyday lexicon.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
He was an MIT grad. He was working at the Advanced Research Agency Network, ARPANET, a Pentagon-funded
Skynet.
Skynet, a Pentagon-funded computer network that would evolve into the modern internet. While his main project was a time-sharing program called Tinex. Along the way, Tomlinson noticed a major program with online messaging. It was way too complicated and unwieldy. Uh, the first email was sent between computers that were literally right next to each other, kind of like the first telephone communication, actually. From what Thomson recalls, consisted of complete gibberish. He just wanted to check to see if it worked.
Yeah. It's like
First,
whenever you go on your computer to save some piece of music or some artwork that you did, and you're like, squiddly doop.
the system eventually took off, with government and military organizations adopting it into the 1980s. With tech-savvy users could start leaving messages for each other. Mass public adoption came in the 1990s. Of course, he had a tech bubble because of this. Tomlinson was inducted into the Internet Hall of Fame in 2012. He said, "I see email being used by and large exactly the way I envisioned. In particular, it's not strictly a work tool or strictly a personal thing. Everybody uses it in different ways, but the way they use it in a way they find works for them.
So he
Seriously,
intended on like dick pics and all that.
I don't know. That's more cell phone though.
I guess email, cell phone. It's all pretty much one
The
thing now.
first ones probably were yes, email. But boy, those are captured on the internet forever.
What if like it was backwards? Like before phone calls, we were actually doing text messages, and
Well,
then and then
Morse code.
and then voice call started.
I don't know. I mean, it seems like that
People be
you would have
using
to
the
basically say
phone more, like talking on the phone more.
the computer would probably be strictly for gaming. Then that would have that's a creation that it would become the computer the personal computer wouldn't come along. You
Well,
would
there's
have
not. I don't think that's the
working
case.
pad. You would have work pads, and then the only thing that the PC would be good for is gaming, which is what they're gearing it toward right now, anyways.
Yeah, but like my thing is more along the lines of whether you're talking about PC or any type of device that can be used for communication. We did technically start out communicating with text, if you want to include Morse code, because even it's a system, but it's transmitting textual information that you'll have to write down.
Yeah.
So then it goes on to the telephone, and then we get the text messaging on the telephones, and then we have like the internet and stuff on like computers and stuff, and then we're all of a sudden like, all right, let's reinvent this whole voice calling thing through the internet with Skype and whatever you used back in the day, AIM or whatnot, and then we have video calls. And pretty soon you'll be able to stick your penis in something on your computer and do it with someone across the world.
You already can.
Oh yeah, welcome to the future.
Or you can
The Japanese of all people invented it.
just
Of all people, like they wouldn't have been the first ones.
This thing is like they're so penis shy. I mean, no, they're so vagina shy. Sorry. They're not shy of penises at all. They actually have a festival where they make everything's like penises and shit. Like even like the candy you eat is shaped as penises. But it's just surprising because they're such a modest culture. Like even in their sexual movies, their pornograph.
Yeah, they're all
They
censored.
the pubic hair is all censored.
Well, it's not just the pubic hair. Like they'll censor the penis fully and the vagina fully. And for a long time, the porn that came out of there was all animated, and most of it still is. Because most of the movies, like I probably said before, back in the day in Japan, it was more you're more likely to see animated movies than you are live action movies because of superstitious beliefs coming from Shintoism. But I also know that there's two companies I think in Japan that will sell uncensored hentai and stuff like that to foreign agencies or foreign companies, and one of them sells exclusively to this German company. And their artwork is pretty darn good for it being the only uncensored tract in Japan.
Yeah.
what's it called?
Don't remember. You can find out by doing a Google search of uncensored hentai.
Don't.
I like
Chris already
hentai.
has.
You have to do all capital letters when you do it, though. That's the thing. Don't do it just yet. You have to do it all capital letters and keep searching page to page. No, you do go to images first.
And make sure your safe search is off.
Yeah. No, only
No.
because you don't want the government restrictions on you. You know, big government and everything.
I'm pretty sure that Chris has looked up uncensored hentai before.
Yeah.
Damn, you just admitted it. It's like, yeah.
I would admit it too. I mean, it's great.
I mean, I don't really have to go looking that hard.
He
No,
just
you
goes
don't.
on to freaking Cody.
It's on Facebook and stuff now.
That has become so popular. It has become so popular.
Become so well. I guess it has, but
Yeah,
then
because
again,
at first it wasn't that popular. At first it was like mostly like like the nerdy kids.
well, who
It's
yeah,
all
who are we
over-
talking
It's
about?
all over
Yeah,
Tumblr.
even technically, even in our generation, people who like anime. Like you probably did you
I was
catch
an
anime
otaku.
later in life, or did you capture anime when you were young?
I did anime my whole life, and I'm actually watching Naruto through all the way through right now.
Okay.
I'm still in
Because
otaku.
a lot of people that I've talked to, they've never done it.
Otaku?
They've if they do start watching anime, they started watching anime when they were in their 20s.
That's odd.
But
Dude, I've
the
been
thing is,
watching
like,
anime ever since fucking
it's
Yeah.
captured the attention of a lot of people and
Pokemon.
continuing
Yeah.
to. And its popularity is growing.
Hey Kenny, you need to watch Cowboy Bebop.
Oh fuck yeah!
That'll
Huh?
get you into anime.
Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
And then watch Gantz.
I watched
And then
Johnny
watch
Knoxville. Does that count?
no. Then watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. That's a really really good one. Then watch Dragon Ball Z because it's just like wrestling but better. Because it's actually real and it actually happened. I mean, no, seriously, anime is great. If you can get over that whole shame of every time a woman is in distress in anime, they sound like they're like being vigorously banged, then you can watch anime.
Every game you play, heck, I play Heroes and Generals. My character gets hit, just like goddamn who orgasms.
I don't know why that's the case. Like, why are all the
In
voice
so many
actors?
games, in so many games that way. If you get hit or you're injured or something like that, you're heavily breathing. It sounds like you're just doing it.
Yeah, I know, but like in anime, especially, like the anime's been around since like the '60s and fucking well longer than that. But like the ones that we talk about here in the U.S. and like you're looking at like old school like Miyazaki films, like it doesn't matter whether it's American voice actors or Japanese voice actors. The female characters always just like something horrible is happening.
You're crazy, Justin.
There goes Chris flipping everybody off on camera.
Chris doesn't flip people off.
He just did.
No, he doesn't. Look at him. He can't flip nobody off.
Did I? I just scratched my face.
Yeah, but you were doing it with your middle finger. You were doing it with your index finger, and your middle finger was straight up in the air the whole time.
Like that.
Yeah.
What else do we
You
have?
guys, no, I have a topic of conversation I wanted to add. Can I do it?
Sure.
Okay, cool. Chris, you remember the lunches at East Paulding High School? They were pretty damn good, weren't they?
Yeah,
You remember the lunches at East Paulding High School?
I remember.
Yeah, like you had that bread, and they did chicken, and they had corn. Even though like the breakfast wasn't that bad, right?
Yeah.
Do you now like you if you guys ever heard have you guys did you guys catch it when did that movement that happened recently, like it was like hashtag thank you Michelle or something like that, because like the healthier school guide lunches apparently turned a lot of lunches bad for students. They were like ugly, or they were bad food, or stuff like that. They were blaming Michelle's program to get kids healthier.
Yeah.
Do you think that would you couldn't have done that with East Paulding High School? But if you look at the area in which East Paulding High School gathered kids from, it wasn't exactly a poor area.
No, there were a
No.
bunch of little rich kids.
No,
Yeah.
it wasn't rich kid. It wasn't as like they weren't
Most
rich.
of their
But
family had
their
land.
families probably made 70,000 to 80,000 at most.
Well, I'm just saying, like, the
Majority
median.
making 50 to 60,000.
They were just bigger families there. That's all.
Well, I also like you have to understand during the time when we were going to high school, Paulding County was in the top 5 fastest growing counties in the entire United States. So it's like, yeah, that's why we had so many of those trailer buildings and all that other crap, because they were redrawing the lines for the freaking districts for the schools, and
There was construction
everyone got
projects
shoved in fucking East Paulding.
Yeah, I mean, like there was construction projects at that school every year that we were there.
Yeah.
Every year that I was there was construction projects.
And it was all for expansion to gather more students. But the thing is, like, like there were poor kids there. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, there was
But
projects.
like there was, yeah, for the predominantly all the people that didn't ride the bus were driving there in Hummers and shit.
Basically, yeah, it was a huge parking because if I don't know, our parking fees I think were like $100. every year to get a parking space.
hmm
It was insane. Then they
Dude,
and
when I
then,
fucking worked at Murray State University, I worked there, right? They were like, "Well, you still need to pay for a parking pass to park in these areas and stuff." And I was like, "Uh, what? Like, you guys employ me, so I have to pay you money back in order to park there at the place that I work." And it wasn't no bad of an eyelash. It was $175 for
shit,
the registration, and then like another $40 for the damn sticker. And I'm just like, it's a piece of paper with adhesive on it.
that was
I mean,
crazy.
it's ridiculous. This is the same school that couldn't afford to maintain its employees because of Obamacare, even though they raked in 13 million in profit. Um,
You couldn't just take it off another car.
I thought about doing that, or just like getting a blue Sharpie. Um, no, I eventually got a
Just
ticket
going
for
for
it, right? And they're like, you need to go pay this ticket at this place and stuff, and I just never paid it because fuck you.
Yeah, nothing like they would say like another thing I found funny. They would say like you need to pay the $100 in order to park here. We're not liable for any lost property or any break-in or anything like that. Even the cameras, which technically weren't there for our safety, they were there to watch teachers. They were there to watch us, make sure we did nothing bad, or if we did do something bad, they could catch us. They weren't, but they would say that they even though you paid $100 for a parking space, like they actually like there was a place it was actually in my neighborhood at the end of my neighborhood, all the way down is where the high school starts. I live right behind the high school. And they actually had a huge dirt area back there that they carved out and they created into another parking space because literally like we were the largest class to graduate East Paulding High School in the state at the time. We were the largest class. But I think there was like what was it like 700 of us there at the graduation, Justin?
700 in our class.
Yeah, there was like
Yeah.
700 kids. We were like one of the largest classes in Georgia at the time. There was a bunch of us. And they had to literally buy land next to the school in order to fit a parking space in for when we became uh, uh, juniors, because then of course the majority of us could drive at that point.
Yeah.
And it cost 100, and that's actually when I don't think that the original fee was $100. I think that it changed that way when more and more students started to fill the school up. Like I don't think that we hold that record of the largest school to graduate, the largest class to graduate anymore. I don't think we actually have that title anymore.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I mean,
crazy.
we didn't have. It was the largest in Georgia, but I'm like, as a whole, like any major city would probably have more,
Yeah. Anyway, major
larger.
cities. Yeah. Yeah.
But the fact of Paulding was the fact that it was so quickly growing. A lot of that had to do with the company my dad was actually working for, uh, Burns and McDonnell, expanding their stuff there. Um,
Did you say Bernie?
Burns and McDonnell, they're a subcontractor for Lockheed Martin.
Oh yeah, yeah. They built a build up of the war because we
Yeah.
graduated in 2008, so technically that was still going pretty good.
That they're the ones who wasted a lot of money on that useless jet.
Oh, the F-35.
Yeah, the YF-35. My dad actually got to see that way
What do you
back in the
think of it?
day. He also got to see the F-22 Raptor uh, before it was out.
Destroyed.
No, but before it was like available to see to the public.
There's
They were
still. Go ahead.
well, he got to see it before it was eyes only kind of stuff, before they had pictures of it.
Yeah. I haven't seen one of the newer ones up close, but I see them flying sometimes. They're really fast, like ridiculously fast.
That's probably the F-22 Raptor, because the YF-32 is it doesn't even really work.
No, I mean like they're just creating some of the subsystems for it. Like they just successfully tested for the first time the helmet that goes to it, where you can basically like the pilot can see outside the ship, and they can see multiple things. They have like a heads-up display in their helmet, and
Mhm.
they can see all types of things. They can float this outside the plane. They can see the target. They can track it. Things like that. Like that was just tested. This successfully, of course, but it was
What's
just
sad
tested.
about that though is you could literally rig up that system for any plane.
Well, yeah, but like
Or you can use a HoloLens.
they even just created they even just successfully tested, though they're just testing it. They successfully tested a vertical liftoff and landing system, but they're just designing these things. The body of the
After
aircraft.
1.3 trillion dollars.
Yeah, like the body of the aircraft is finished and it's nice and everything like that, but without those features, those are the features that were promised on the thing. It would have vertical landing and vertical takeoff ability. It would have its pilots would have an HUD display.
Well,
And
I don't understand why they couldn't get the the vertical landing done sooner, because you've got the Harrier jets that can already do that.
yeah, but I mean, like they're not. I mean, the Harrier is an older version of it. It takes a lot of your fuel up. I mean, it's just. I mean, they
They're
wanted
trying
to
to make a
create.
more efficient
They're trying to
version.
make a more efficient system that basically allows the vehicle to take off at higher speed and attain altitude higher without expending more fuel.
Hmm.
And that's the thing. Like they're still trying to create that. But there could be something else that they're going to spend a whole lot of money on. They just
Wow.
successfully tested it as well.
What is that?
The railgun.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, I know I usually don't go, oh, that's awesome for killing machines, but
A shot from that could level an entire mountain if it was
yeah.
powerful enough.
You know what else could level an entire mountain?
Taco Bell
Okay.
farts.
Gundams. Man.
Yeah, I would think that some Gundams carry railguns. Like
That'd be awesome.
from how it looks when they shoot the guns, it's
Gundam?
like,
Hell yeah, carried it on their backs.
well, you see when they shoot the guns, right? It's like it's a pew. It's like a small length of laser. It's not like a pew, like a continuous laser gun. It's a fucking pew. So that lends to the credence that it's probably a railgun that Gundams fire.
Yeah.
I would also consider the blasters in Star Wars and stuff like that to be railgun like, because they shoot
Our
things.
Gundams need to have railguns and lightsabers, like
Well, they
huge,
already have
giant,
like Gundams have
giant
lightsabers. They're called beam
lightsabers.
swords.
Yeah.
In the show, they're beam swords. They were my favorite thing ever. One of the first games to come out for PlayStation 2 was this Gundam like battle game, and it was awesome because they let you use the beam sword and you could totally fuck shit up.
What was it called?
Don't remember. Like, it was just
I'll
one
be
of the
right back.
first PS2 games.
I got a bunch of PS2 games. Let me get some real quick.
PS2. It's in the game. That's not the right slogan. So, podcast. This is me. Chris is in his underwear over there. It's okay. I'm pretty sure Chris has his wiener tucked in his butt cheeks, so that way it won't flop out. So, anywho, podcast audience, I implore you to give yourself a high five for watching us and subscribing to us, because we're the greatest ever. Pretty soon, like in the next 25 years, we'll have T-shirts for this podcast.
Okay, this is the only Gundam game I got for the PS2.
I believe that is the game. I think, or maybe that was the crappy one.
I'm looking at the back now. Hey, it looks pretty cool. It says command up to 3 attack teams per mission. Multiple weapon choices.
Does it give you kind of a third-person view where you're kind of running around?
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, that might be it. It was really good. Yeah, that is it. That's it.
That's
was
a
a good
really fucking cool disc. Look, I haven't looked at this yet.
Have you played it yet?
Nope.
Damn.
I have
Do you play it on an actual PS2 or do you?
Yeah, I have one.
I usually just put it if I have a PS2 disc, I put it in my computer and
Like
rip the ISO off and
this
play it.
game.
I remember that game.
I played.
Dude, do you have Shinobi?
Yeah, I think so.
Awesome as hell, dude. That was one of my favorites.
Rocksteady.
Back when you could still fly cars properly.
And I have a shit ton of these games. This game.
State of Emergency was great, dude. That was one of the first titles that almost got an adult-only rating. Because you could sit there and like chop people apart and pick up their body parts and beat them with with their body parts and shit. It's a good game.
I'm still looking for. I think I have the first Hitman, or I might have the second one, but I'm looking for one of those, either the first or the second.
I recently downloaded the ROMs for Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers, and Return of the King, and The Third Age, because those were really underappreciated and good games.
Yeah, they are really good. Stuntman.
I think I remember that one. Is that the one where you go and like make a stunt scene and record it and shit?
Yep.
Yeah.
This one.
Is hardcore volleyball, or is that like Dead or
Yeah.
Alive, the fighting game?
Dead or Alive, the fighting game.
I like the volleyball games too.
I wanted to play the new one, but it's not coming out for America.
Well, that doesn't mean you can't get it.
I found this at a game store. Have no clue what it is,
Metal Saga. Don't know it either. Never played it.
but it looked good and
It looks interesting.
got Full Metal.
I remember that one.
Haven't played it. Most of these I haven't played.
Square Enix makes the Full Metal series on PS2.
Really good game.
Devil May Cry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another really good game.
That was a really good game. That was probably one of the best sword fighting games I've ever played.
Yeah, the first one and the second one. I never got to play the third one.
There was one of them called The Way of the Samurai, or Burnout was great.
Burnout,
Burnout
yeah,
series was
yeah.
great. What was it called? There was Bushido Blade, which was for PlayStation. That was a really good one.
Spider-Man.
But I think it was Bushido 2 for
I played that, it's
PlayStation
not
2.
that bad.
The original Spider-Man game was really good, in my
Yeah, it's
opinion.
pretty good.
I got Spider-Man 2. I got.
Just because all the cheats there were.
I have Silent Hill 2, Shinobi, Metal Gear Solid, all the Metal Gear games, Scarface, Battlefront 1 and 2,
I didn't realize they made a Scarface game.
Star Wars Episode 3.
Why not? You could just shoot everything up.
Oh, I remember Star Wars Episode 3, the Revenge of the Sith game. It was pretty good. I mean, it had a really dynamic sword fighting system.
Pretty much all the Guitar Hero games. Dragon Ball Z game. God of
You got
War.
Battlefront 2?
Uh,
Or Star Wars Battlefront?
yeah, 1 and 2.
Oh yeah, 1 and 2, you said that. I thought you were talking about Battlefront, the other series.
Yeah, and that's just PS2. I have for PS1. I have pretty much all the Resident Evil games.
I have absolutely no games as far as console goes. I did have a copy of Final Fantasy 13 for Xbox 360, but then I downloaded it for PC, and it was better. Dude, the PC version of 13 is great. They add shit to it, and it runs at 60 frames per second. So it's really pretty.
Boss.
Yeah. Have you played
Also-
Far Cry yet?
Which one?
Primal.
Not Primal. I have 4, I think, is the most recent one. Or besides Primal is the most recent one I've played.
Did you play Far Cry 3?
Yeah, I played Far Cry 3.
That one was so much fun.
Yeah.
Like especially when you were in the pod farm and burning it all down and
And then the
dubstep music
dubstep playing, yeah.
was playing. That was crazy, man.
Let's see, what was Shadow of the Colossus was a good game. I imagine you have it.
Yeah, I got that.
Do you have Final Fantasy 10 and 12?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I wonder if the servers are still up for Final Fantasy 11 on PS2.
I don't believe so.
Mm-hmm.
I know I wanted to get 11 for PS2, and I went to go get it, and I was so excited, and then I found out you had to buy that special like piece for the PS2, and it was another $100, and I didn't have the money, and I was like, uh. But it's probably all the same that I didn't waste like a couple 100 hours on that.
Yeah, that's the way to look at it.
Did you ever get that piece?
What piece? No, I never got that piece.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go and get Final Fantasy 14 for PC now and play online.
Yeah.
I can't wait till 15 comes out. Have you seen 15, dude?
Yeah, I saw some of that stuff.
15 looks so
Crazy
amazing.
looking.
And I can't wait for 7 to come back out again, of course. When I saw that E3 trailer for Final Fantasy 7 for PS4, I was like, that's the reason I'm going to buy a PS4.
Yeah. I need to do a stream, or me and you need to do a stream where I play some of these PS2 games.
Oh, dude, I still think I remember the main cheat code for Spider-Man. I believe it was Treyarch spelled backwards was the code to unlock everything.
Look at the back of it.
Onimusha.
Yeah.
10 years after on the boobs. Onimusha 2. Wait, what does it say up at the top on the back?
I don't have the book, but
No, on the back of the case. What did it say up in the top? I want to read it in the announcer voice. Up at the top. A mouth-watering visual feast from the flying spaghetti monster. It says FSM, so
$6.
$6.
Not too bad.
And you can download all of those games for free off the internet.
Yeah. There's just something about having them.
I don't know, it's the same thing about like having an actual book instead of having an ebook.
Yeah.
You get to touch it and feel it and smell it. Oh yeah.
I like how cheap they are now. Like, I remember wanting a lot of these games, but I couldn't get them because they were so expensive.
Yeah, if that game came out and it was like $59 to begin with, it's only you're paying like 1/10 of the original price, so
Yeah.
which is
Anyway,
pretty good.
what else do we have, Kenny?
Gingers, are they people?
Gingers are the people.
What was on the topic list?
Topic list. Alrighty then. Would society benefit from from everyone adopting veganism?
I think the whole planet would.
And here's the thing. Now, like, like they're vegetarian, right? So
Who?
let's change it to vegetarian and veganism.
Yeah.
Okay, so vegetarian and veganism. What the benefit? And then this is a sudden change. Like all of a sudden, everyone shifts to this, right?
Yeah.
What
Suddenly, really
happens
fast.
to all the cows, chickens, pigs that have been genetically engineered to be
Simple.
domesticated?
Simple. We just slaughter them all,
We send them to Mars.
and
We're gonna build a wall.
Build a wall.
It's gonna be
We'll have
huge.
them pay for it because it's gonna be huge. It's gonna be huge.
They're gonna build it, and they're gonna pay for it.
Did you see that meme I shared, Kenny, that said it showed Quark from TNG, and he's like, "We're gonna build a wall around the Gamma Quadrant, and we're gonna make the Bajorans pay for it."
Pay for it. Yeah. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Like, if I had to describe the candidates based off of their Star Trek race, if they had one, Trump would definitely be Ferengi.
39th rule of acquisition. Screw up a country just because you can.
What else we got?
Clinton would be a Cardassian.
I'm gonna try to hurry up and end this
Okay.
soon.
Bernie, of course, would
Are
be
some people just prone to certain conditions, i.e. heartburn, or is it the result of the food choices they have chosen over the years?
probably both.
Well, see, because like the premises of this is like you're saying that somebody is prone, they're genetically prone to heartburn, which is a condition that would prevent them from surviving to their fittest. A person who has heartburn, they can't necessarily pay attention to what they're hunting. A person who has heartburn can't necessarily survive
I wouldn't say
cold.
that's true.
Well, because the fact that the condition itself will cause somebody to concentrate on themselves.
Yes, but
No.
people are perfectly capable of ignoring far worse pain than heartburn and still doing things.
Right, but it's something that's going to turn into a disease that's eventually going to kill you. Like if you have a lot of heartburn, that could be actually your heart. Yeah, that's directly related to the issues in your heart.
It's, I would say, indirectly related because it's not part of the same subfield system. Like, yes,
It has to do with the bacteria surrounding your heart, which is also the bacteria produced in your gut.
yeah, but heartburn isn't necessarily caused by the bacteria in your gut either. Heartburn is caused by a number of things, but usually more prominently, it's caused by your stomach not knowing when to shut off acid production.
Because
So
the food
that's
is
the
telling
genetic
you that.
predisposition.
Because the food is telling it that it can't. It has to break it down further.
Yeah, well, it's the thing is that
That
you
could
don't
come from a
necessarily have to have food on your stomach to get heartburn. I don't know about
no.
you,
You
but
could
I
just
can
have
wake up,
water. Yeah.
yeah, and not even do anything and have heartburn. It's literally because your stomach doesn't know when to shut off that production, and that's why calcium carbonate, which is pretty much Tums, helps that process because it doesn't necessarily shut off the process, but it neutralizes a good portion of that acid and makes you formulate the salt formation from the exposure of the hydrochloric acid um, to the calcium carbonate, and you pass that in urine and other stuff. Once it filters through the kidneys.
Right.
But your heart. If you have a lot of heartburn and you do eat a lot of bad food, it's not going to help. Like greasy food, tomato-based food, anything with any kind of capsaicin in it, um, anything like that is liable to give you heartburn. High in vitamin C will probably give you heartburn if you're prone to heartburn.
But is it because of the way it's manufactured? Like you said, tomato-based diet. The thing is, like tomatoes are very actually healthy for the heart.
Oh no,
They're high
tomatoes are
in
very healthy, but heartburn itself is your stomach.
manufactured. It's the manufactured tomatoes that give you the issue.
I
Like
wouldn't say so.
I recently been doing this diet where I don't eat any carbs, I don't eat pasta, I don't eat bread. I just eat vegetables, fruits, and meat.
Mhm.
And I have on more than one occasion simmered uh, ripe tomatoes, small ripe tomatoes, in the juice of the meat and everything like that. And I've eaten them. I haven't gotten heartburn. But if I were to eat spaghetti, I would have not only gas but heartburn galore.
Well, you have to understand spaghetti sauce isn't just the tomato part. There's also, freaking red peppers crushed up in there and all kinds of other stuff and garlic, which, believe it or not, is spicy. Um, Anything that would exacerbate the presence of the acid in your stomach is going to exacerbate heartburn if you're prone to it. And I say if you're prone to it because that's why I said earlier it's both. Because some people are more prone to get heartburn from eating certain things than others, and it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with what they've chosen to eat throughout their entire life as much as it has to do with genetic, prevalency to being prone to heartburn.
Okay.
Heartburn itself is not really something that all too badly affects the heart. It's called heartburn because of the localized pain.
Right, but it
Uh,
does the issues like there is an issue. There is a link between heartburn and heart issues.
There's a link between gum
The
disease
bacteria,
and
the big
heart.
bacteria is relatively the same.
Yeah, but there's a link
But
between
if you have
gum
bad
disease and
gut
heart.
bacteria, you're gonna have bad heart bacteria.
Yeah, but I'm also saying like there's a link between gum disease and heart disease as well. Um, I mean, anything that deals with your body and deals with blood in your body is going to have some effect on your heart because that's what your blood passes through.
Right. So I mean, it's like saying is it a choice of the person's diet, or is it that people are just prone to certain things? That's
Well,
like saying that also that diet couldn't help alleviate or get rid of the symptoms that they're having.
oh, I'm not saying it couldn't. I'm just saying from the get-go, like whenever the article piece asked, are people prone to this or is it because of their choices? I said it's both. Like if you're prone to it to begin with, it just makes it worse. If you're not prone to it and you make bad choices, you can still develop heartburn and it's still not good for you, but it's not as bad as if you were already prone to it. You know,
Okay.
because some people the way their stuff is set up genetically, they produce too much acid. It just happens and it comes up their esophagus. Um, people are not born perfect. Like humans, there is no perfectly healthy human being. We whether even if we did everything we could to be totally diet conscious and we lived to the maximum of whatever longevity we could hope for, there are still problems with human anatomy. I mean, just from the get-go, there's problems with our brains. There's problems with how our intestines hang in our body. There's problems with our teeth, as far as our jaws not being big enough to accommodate all the teeth that want to grow into them. There's problems with all kinds of things in the human body that no matter what you could do on the outside, you're not going to be able to deal with unless you get into genetically engineering humans.
Right.
Like one of the first things I would
Damn.
do to help fix the human digestive issue is genetically make it to where our intestines hang from our rib cage and not from our back muscles.
But wouldn't you get a hernia much easier that way?
No. One of the problems with why we get hernias so easily is because they are connected to the back viscera. Our intestines are set up more for us to walk on all fours than on two legs. If they were to hang from the viscera on the inner chamber of your rib cage, then there would be less impact pushing this way whenever you're pushing a hernia through the abdominal wall. Uh, it's a design flaw essentially, and if you want to give the word design any movement to it, it's a design flaw. Our gut is in many ways. I mean, our teeth too. Also, our adrenal glands are too large for our brains. For a being that uses rational thought, our adrenal glands are too large.
Right, which often leads to bad situations where we overreacted, and that sensible part of us comes alive and goes, "Why do we do that?" And next thing you
Yeah.
know, you have issues with yourself and everything.
Our prefrontal cortex, I mean, is the one of the largest of any species, but there are other parts of our brain that could be smaller, and it would allow our prefrontal cortex to do more work. For instance, parts of the brain relegated to hormonal stimulus, or like you say, your medulla oblongata, being in a lot of ways responsible for your fear, like the hormones involved with fear. You could tone down the fear hormone and tone up the prefrontal cortex. Like if you tone down the size of one part of the brain to where all of the rest of it is evenly sparse, then that little bit of increase in the prefrontal cortex would be enough that those situations involving the fear, we'd be able to rationally think about what we're fearing.
Yeah.
So it kind
Just
of makes it moot.
just like you, right?
Yeah, just like me.
Damn, Daniel.
What is that from? I've been seeing people say that
That's
everywhere.
somebody who that's an internet sensation. It's like a social media sensation of some guy who he's at school and his friend and there's a guy named Daniel who wears like new shoes constantly.
Hmm.
And so he's like, "Damn, Daniel," and it's because he's wearing the new shoes or he's wearing a good outfit or something like that. But that's where it comes from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I had
Like,
no clue.
it got really popular. It was like a really popular meme, and then somehow he got swatted. You know what that is?
No.
It's when they call in a fake like murder threat or whatever to somebody's house, and then the SWAT team shows up and breaks down the door.
Oh, shit.
But
So you got
but
swatted?
nothing really was wrong or having somebody just reported it like a fake disturbance,
Huh.
like serious thing like somebody's making a bomb or somebody's trying to kill somebody.
Generally, whenever someone does that, the people who make the call or do the swatting get in some kind of trouble.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I remember that the first case I heard of swatting was of some kid who calls the FBI on this guy who's on this video game that he's
That's usually
playing,
what
right?
happens.
Yeah, and then like they bust into this guy's house and shit while he's playing on the video game, and you can hear like shit going on, and I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, swatting it's considered kind of like being a troll, but it's called swatted. And
yeah,
basically, they send like the SWAT team to your house, and they say that he has a weapon, he's gonna kill someone or something like that, and
that's
then
fucking. I mean, that you could call that trolling, but that's more than trolling. Trolling is like you go out there to intentionally make people angry. This is like I'm gonna send the SWAT team to your house, and they're gonna bust down the door. I mean, but really, I think maybe we should ask some more questions before we just take something seriously. I don't know how epidemic this problem is, but like, can you imagine if all it takes to get the SWAT to a place is for you to call and say, "Hey, man, they're making a bomb here. This blah blah blah. I saw them loading this chemical stuff. Blah blah blah," and then all of a sudden SWAT goes to that place. It's like SWAT's your personal army now.
Pretty much, man. And that's something we can talk about in the next podcast. Personal armies.
Personal armies. Does anyone know who isn't your personal army? Chris might know. I don't know if Kenny
Jesus.
knows. No, no. Who,
Gee.
who was famous or not famous, but who do you know from the early days on the internet who said this particular group is not your personal army?
Anonymous?
B in particular, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, anonymous. You're right. Anonymous is not for hire. We are not your personal army. I remember those days being on 4chan and like thinking we were actually gonna do shit.
No, you didn't do
I mean,
anything.
the real anonymous people do shit, but like I was in there thinking like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go on here and like, guys, we need to storm Area 51. I made that post one time and I was like, storm the gates, and then like a whole bunch of people started commenting like, dude, you're gonna get like 50 yards in and then they're gonna shoot you, and I was like, not if there's a lot of us.
Some of us can make it through.
It wasn't even that some of us could. I was like, if a lot of us go through and we all have like video cameras and shit, and they're like, big whoop, you're gonna have a video camera, but they're just gonna kill you and take the camera. Like, but this was back in the day before you could just upload videos to the internet, right?
Yeah.
Now I could go back on there and be like, guys, remember this plan I had about like 8 years ago? Let's storm Area 51 for no good reason. Because back in the day when I wrote that, I was like, maybe they have alien stuff there. But now I'm like, it's obviously just a secret Air Force base. And it's
Yeah.
like, we're going to storm in there and be like, oh, a whole bunch of airplanes. Who would have thunk? And then there's going to be the crazy people among us there who are like, no, it's buried underground, like in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
All right, man. I think I had enough. I gotta go to bed.
No.
So,
We're continuing this podcast for the next 8 hours.
well, Kenny had to drop out somehow, but
24-hour
comment, and
podcast.
subscribe, guys.
We
Try
need to do a
do this
24-hour show.
Yeah.
Let's bring back the 24-hour show. That used to be a thing on YouTube.
Yeah. Only it wasn't so successful, right?
No, people did it to just see if they could do it.
Okay, bye.
No.
Like,
They're gonna
comment,
kill us.
and subscribe.
He's gonna turn it off, and then I'm going to die until they next bring back the